Hello there, welcome to our second class of a Guitar Basics course. On today's class, we're going to be looking after, give me 1 second, wrong 2, okay. So we're going to look about what is music, because we're going to be talking about something, not understanding what it is. Also going to talk about basic music theory, such ways of the music notes and scales, because we're also going to look at the whole and half step intervals. So I'm gonna try to keep this short because the last time I was yapping so much that I kept like 2 or 3 minutes after. So I'm gonna try to keep this short. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Alright, so what is music? Music is basically the art of sound and silence. It's basically you expressing emotion in art by using the sounds of silence. And music got 3 main components that actually kind of differentiate music between each other and also kind of define music, which is the rhythm, the melody, and the harmony. I don't know why my thing's not writing okay, but you got rhythm, which is basically the speed and how much kinda each thing is gonna last, like note or the interval or like a pause. So using that is kind of gonna give you like a more accelerated music is gonna be a little bit more uplifting, like cha cha cha, and a little more slow music or for rhythm more kind of expressive or too lasting, too long. It's gonna give you a more reflective song or classical music. Some classical music is sped up, of course, but you get my point. Kind of more melancholic and sad. So rhythm is really important. You also got the melody, which is basically your music, the part of the music that you sing on your head when you listen to a famous song or and then you got the harmony. The harmony is basically what is enhancing the melody, it's bringing more to the melody. So the melody is basically a cake without no frosting or without no fruits or whatsoever that you put on a cake, and the harmony is basically the rest that you put, right? The frosting, the fruit. So the melody by itself can exist and be called music, but harmony is there to enhance it and also kinda complete it in such a sense. But yes, we'll be seeing those terms back when we talk about harmonizing and stuff like that. So just have the initial thought of what music is made of and what is music. So we got the music notes and the scales now. So a scale is basically a sequence of notes, or we can say 8 successive notes. And I'll give you an example of a very known scale, which is the scale of C. So you probably heard about C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Well, my thing's not writing all right, but this is basically do, re, I don't know why it's not writing alright, sorry. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and do, right? Sorry, not the accent. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I'm so sorry because my voice is not on pitch. I'm just trying to show. You got do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So basically the scale is gonna be a sequence of 8 successive notes, and over here I just showed the natural ones. So there are 12 notes in total. I like to say there's 12, and there's this natural notes, which is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So it spoke so fast. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and do. And in between those notes you can also find notes that are, as we can say, they are a little bit more like half, like not half notes, but like they're notes, but this is gonna go into this whole and half step. But basically just have in mind that there are notes in between, for example C and D, which is the C over here, D and E, which is this D over here. And there's no in between here. There is in between here though, and there is in between here, yes, as well, sorry, and there is in between here as well. and there's none between that. So if you count your notes, you got 7 over here, and I call this notes accidents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 notes accident. What are these notes accidents? So basically, they are a variant of the natural note, like a half step higher or lower. So if you have a half step higher from C to this C, that we call C sharp, is gonna be with a sharp sign. If it's a little bit, we can say a little bit more sharp, or a little bit, I don't know how to say in English, but it's our relationship of like being a little with a pitch a little bit more higher or lower. So if it's a pitch higher, like going ba, like up the pitch, so then you're gonna go up a sharp, like on half step. So from a natural to a accident sharp is gonna be a half step up. And if you go half step down, for an example, from a B to a B flat, like ba, ba. So if you're going lower on the scale, so that basically means you're going flat, right? So with this kind of knowledge, you can kind of know yourself in between the scale with this relationship of higher, lower, and flat and sharp. So the chromatic scale that we call, this is the major scale of C. By the way, the 7 notes over here are called the major scale, and this is the major scale of this is the major scale of C. So here you got the chromatic scale, which is basically all 12 notes on a sequence of lower tone or pitch to higher pitch. So you got C, C sharp, I'm gonna put on the sharps, or you got D flat, and then you got D, you got D sharp or E flat, and then you got E. That is no in between. I'm about to explain that. F sharp, G flat, you got G sharp, A flat, and you got A, and then you got A sharp, B flat, and then you got B. So you got 12 successive notes, and that is a difference of half a step in between this note. So half step between C and C sharp, half step between C sharp and D, half step between D and D sharp, so and so forth. Even backwards, there is a difference of a half step between this F and an E, or between this D sharp and a G. So as I said, the scales are 8 consecutive notes, and they end up repeating themselves. So over here, I show you the scale of C repeats as C. The difference between this C and this C is called octave. So over here, you can see there is the C of the octave on the chromatic scale as well. But the difference is that you cannot be counting A notes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just kind of say, oh, this is the octave of C, right? This note right here. So you cannot do that on the chromatic scale. You do that on major scale to count the octave relationship. The octave is the same note, but a note's higher or lower. So that is really important for us to know as well. So what I was trying to get to is what difference of whole and half step. So a half step, of course, is half of something. So if you have a circle, you put a half, that's a half. If you have the whole circle, that's a whole. So the difference between C and D is a whole step. Difference between D and E is another whole step. But that is a but on music. If you see over here, both the E and F and the B and C are a half step apart. They have no B sharp or C flat. If you say C flat, that's gonna be B, and if you say B sharp, that's gonna be C. So because of that, that's basically many scales and concepts in music is justified because of this, to kind of separate situations, right? So the whole step of this E will end at this F sharp. The whole step of this B will end at the C sharp. So you can see that one whole step equals 2 half steps. So you can kind of guide yourself through this and kind of find out what's at, right? So enough of this blah blah blah. Now let's see on the guitar so I can finish this lesson, because I think it is too long already. So let's draw our head of the guitar and our little nut. right? That separates, if you saw the last part, you know, it separates the head from the fretboard or the neck of the guitar, right? So on the neck of the fretboard, the guitar, you got your frets. So the difference between this fret and this fret is actually up a half step. And the difference between two frets is a whole step. So a little spoiler, the first string on the standard tuning, if it's open, is going to be the E note. So if you skip a half step, the next one at this house over here on the sixth string, I mean the most thick one. If you hold the guitar properly, which I'll be showing in another video, you see is the one closest to you. It is the more thick one and is on top of the guitar, and then the first string is the thinner one and it's gonna be in the bottom when you're holding it right. Right? So this is F, and then if you skip another whole step, you got to A, and then skip another whole step, you got to B. So if you skip a half step, you're gonna end up F sharp. Half step, you're gonna end up A sharp. So reminding you that the chromatic scale is a bunch of difference between ho 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 ho's steps. No, there are a bunch of difference between half steps. I'm sorry. Between half stops. You don't say I'm sorry. I say pardon. Yeah, I'm sorry. My British accent is getting better by the day. So between the difference between half steps. So over here on the major scale, you can see the difference and make it like a formula for the other major scales. So you got D. The difference between D and C and D is, for an example, a whole note. Another difference, a whole note, of a half note, of a whole note, of a whole note, of a whole note, and another half note. So if I use this on the scale D, for an example, based on a chromatic scale, you got D, and then you got a whole step, which is going to give you to E. Another whole step, which is going to be F sharp. Another whole half step, now I'm sorry, should give you to G, or pardon. Another whole step A, another whole step B, another whole step C sharp, and then a half step, which will lead you to D. So you can kind of figure out what the other scales of the major scale by using the formula, basically on the differences, right? So ho ho half, ho 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 half. Right, we'll talk about more scales later on, but just giving the initial idea. And again, I'm pretty sure this video will stay a little bit longer than it's supposed to, but thank you so much for tuning in. You guys learned something new, or kind of just refresh on something you guys had to go over. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment, and hasta la vista.